talk about this, at least, as far as entertainment wise goes. But at the same time, anything is possible. But I saw a very interesting segment with Tim Bradley on Max on Boxing. Oh, by the way, shout out to Kobe, my correspondent. He's at Madison Square Garden, basically covering the Edgar Berlanga fight. So shout out to him, and he told me that they put him on the floor, so he's on the floor. No auxiliary credentials, so he's actually on the floor. So shout out to Matchroom for taking care of us. I always got to give a shout out to the people that look out for my media person with Matchroom. Anyway, let's discuss this. So I saw Blue Blood talk about it, and I had put my video out. Discussing this, but Timothy Bradley says that he is concerned that if Bud doesn't, start off a little bit quicker than what he usually does, he could put himself in harm's way by putting himself in a position where he may have to get a knockout to win the fight. Well, here's the thing. I can tell you this much. I'm gonna try to get Bernie on here, because I was supposed to have Bernie the boxer on here yesterday, and it's my fault because I fell asleep, and I couldn't, by the time I woke up, it was a little too late to be trying to get Bernie them on here. So I'll try to see, can I get Bernie on here? If not, maybe tonight, maybe I'll try to get him on here tomorrow. But I can assure you that Team Crawford is not worried about the judges, because I really think their whole goal is to go in there and get the stoppage. I think that's their whole goal. I don't think they worried about the scorecards, because I think they're going in there to stop Crawford. But a lot of things have came into play, and a lot of people are concerned, because at this point in time, people just don't trust. People just don't trust Al Heyman, and they don't trust the PBC. And a lot of people feel like Al Heyman puts the Hispanic fighters before the black fighters. I have to say this. I'm not like anybody else. Don't compare me to these other black content creators, and a lot of them do good work, and some of them ain't on the same page as me, which that's fine. Everybody has their lane, everybody, and they do good work. Everybody don't have to be just like me. I have my target audience, and other people have their target audience. Doesn't mean that we're against each other, because like I said, I done been on outlets with people who don't like certain people that I'm down with, and there's people that then been on outlets with people that don't like me, and that's fine. You can say whatever you want to say about me, as long as you don't run up on me, because then that's when stuff is gonna get real. I mean, every word I said, when I'm willing to defend myself up to using lethal force. And if you don't know what lethal force means, then look it up. And I'm fucking serious. But like I said before, a lot of people just don't trust Al Heyman, for a variety of different reasons, from how basically he treats, in particularly black media, or how he's allowed people that work with him to constantly disrespect black media, to just a lot of different things. And now this signing with Canelo, the reason why people are concerned is because people feel, well, hell, Errol Spence could be in line for a showdown with Canelo. So it might be in his best interest if he gets the W over Terrence Crawford. or something controversial happens to where it can put him in line to get the fight with Canelo. Now, I heard other people talking about a rematch and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, there is a rematch clause, but Errol Spence doesn't have to activate it. So, so this is why people are concerned. Now, you saw other people like, goofy ass Fred copping a plea talking about, well, he blames Al Heyman. Now, this is before the Canelo signing, because keep in mind, Fred act like he know everything, which he don't. And like I said, at the end of the day, I really just don't like barber bitch conversation, because dude is, like I said, he's you know what I'm saying, the P in phony, even though he probably think phony is spelled with an F. But, Fred is like a dumb, smart guy. And, Fred walking around here talking this junk, thinking that it ain't gonna get back to me, calling himself trying to orchestrate $1,000 hits out on people and all that goofy stuff, talking about he gonna beat people's ass, and when he saw me didn't do a damn thing. But Fred is, like I said, a fraud. He really is. But look, I think this fight is gonna be on the up and up for the most part. I think right now, based off what we've been seeing, too much of questionable things in boxing, and I just think they can't afford to have a hiccup, because I do think there's people that's thinking that, based off the fact that Canelo is with the PBC, that they thinking that Bud might get screwed because they want to put a Canelo fight with Errol Spence. They want to organize that fight maybe within the next year. And by the way, that fight ain't gonna happen in May. If anything, that fight would happen in the back end of 2024. Definitely not gonna happen in May. I could all but assure you that. If that fight was to happen, it would happen in the back end of May, because they would have to, if Spence loses to Crawford and he decides not to, activate his rematch clause, then he could just say, okay, I'm gonna just move up and I'm gonna, try to hurry up and get to middleweight 160, because I think win, lose, or draw, Errol Spence may get Canelo regardless. Because like I said before, Canelo is starting to look long in the tooth, and I know his fans can't handle somebody saying that Canelo is getting old, which is not an insult. It's not an insult at all. I mean, the man can't fight forever. I'm just saying Canelo hasn't looked very stellar in his last few fights. And whether people want to admit it or not, like I said, I'm going to say it. I'm not going to sit up here and watch what I say because Canelo stands are upset because they want me to soft shoe everything. Like I said, I'm not on Canelo's payroll. I operate on my own. I work for myself. So, Errol Spence is 33. Canelo is, I think Canelo is going on 33. I don't know exactly when Canelo's birthday is. I think Canelo is going to be 33 before year's end. So you have to look at the grand scheme of things. The man been fighting professionally since he was like 15 years old. And that's still like a lot of work at this age. And then Canelo on weight. And I think if they could make the fight, that's maybe a $60 million payday for Canelo, and maybe a $20 million payday for Errol Spence if they had this fight at Cowboy Stadium at Jerry's World. So this is why people believe that, dang, they might screw Crawford. But like I said, me myself, I think the fight is probably gonna happen regardless, because that was always in the plans anyway. But I think what Al Heyman wanted was for Errol Spence to go into the fight with Canelo undefeated. And he still could go into the fight with Canelo undefeated. There's no guarantee that Terrence Crawford is going to win this fight. But based off the fact that he's fighting Terrence Crawford, it's a big if now. So people, when they first heard about it, it was like, all right, here we go. Because we all know when they was trying to get Canelo to stay, the first package included Errol Spence anyway. And then everybody was like, okay, why is Errol Spence? This is why you know they really weren't trying to make the Terrence Crawford fight. And it was by default. Because Errol Spence felt like, well, hell, I'm not fighting Keith Thurman because he wouldn't fight me when I was trying to fight him. So I'm not, you know what I'm saying? Like I said before, I've been doing this for a minute and I know what I'm talking about. I was one of the people that put it out there. And then the reports came that Errol Spence was part of the package deal to basically persuade Canelo to stay with the PBC, and I think he's in this particular package. And I think depending on what happens with him and the Crawford fight, how much damage he takes in that fight, they still could sell that fight. It's still a interesting fight, and I think people would watch it. Because I just think people would watch it. And like I said before, Canelo would be a heavy favorite in that. Canelo would be a heavy favorite in that fight versus Errol Spence, especially if they try to catapult him basically into that fight where they get him one fight and maybe a title shot at 154. Because think about it. The rematch clause says that basically if they rematch, they can fight at 154, no titles on the line. Okay, so here's the thing. It would make more sense for Errol Spence to just bypass a rematch. And we all know people can get title shots coming off a loss. Because if they saying the rematch can be at 154, they already gonna say if they lose. Cause see, I'm gonna tell you, and I'm gonna put out there what a lot of these content creators are scared to say. They already, Team Spence already got a built-in excuse if they lose. They're gonna say that they couldn't make 147 anymore. That's why the rematch could take place at 154. Which is junior middleweight. See, don't you guys know I'm you know what I'm saying? I'm unpacking this for y'all so y'all can get an idea of what's going on and what could possibly happen July the 29th. They already got a built-in excuse, inactivity. I couldn't make the weight no more. I only stayed around at 147 because I wanted to keep my promise to the fans and fight Terrence Crawford. I'm giving y'all some game, and this is already in play in case they lose to Terrence Crawford. Because why would the rematch have to be at 154, or it could be at 154 when they actually fighting at welterweight? So they already telling you if they lose to Terrence Crawford, they move it up to 154. And then my thing is, basically what they could do, they could listen. You talking about July all the way till, you know what I'm saying, all the way till September of 2024. Or worst case scenario, it doesn't have to take place in September. They could push the fight back till December of 2024. They could say, okay, this is what we gonna do. If Spence loses, we'll give him an easy touch at 154. If he wins, then we'll get him a title shot at 154. And then when he wins that title at 154, we'll shoot him up to 160. Get him one fight at 160. And then there you have it. You fight Canelo at a catch weight of 165, between 164 and 165, 166 at the most. It's really gonna come down on what Canelo is able to dictate, because Canelo is a priority. That's one thing I will agree with Fred, that Canelo is the top priority at the PBC. And I've been saying this. He's a priority now. Well, I don't know what's going on because I'm not at home yet, so I'm on the freeway. You know, I don't know what's going on with J-Rock. I'm on the freeway. I have to do that when I watch the replay of the fight. But I'm telling you guys to play. Just because just because they shooting for September of 2024 doesn't mean they can't push it back. Because I just think that Errol Spence is gonna get that Canelo fight, win, lose, or draw, because it'll be a circus fight, and then people would tune in. One, all the Mexicans would buy that fight because they think Canelo would destroy Errol Spence. And it's a sellable fight. People would be intrigued by it. Even though Canelo would be a heavy favorite in that fight, they would still tune in, because there is people that always believe that Errol Spence, if he fought Canelo, he could beat Canelo. And it was kind of funny when Canelo did an interview. Canelo said never in his life would Errol Spence be able to beat him. So they kind of like throwing like little hints that the fight could take place. And it could be both Errol Spence and Canelo's retirement package. So July 29th is more important than what we think it is now. But I am going to be keeping a close eye, observing what's going on. And like I said, I understand Timothy Bradley's concern, but I hope they would have enough integrity to judge this fight in a correct way. But you have to understand, when it comes to boxing, it comes down to what the judges are looking for. It comes down to what the judges are looking for. Some judges like effective aggression. Some judges like good defense and counter punching. So you just never know. And then based off the fact who's going to judge the fight, that's going to play key into how we think this fight can turn out. Because we a long ways from the judges. We don't even know who the referee is going to be. Russell Mora, I talked to Russell Mora. He told me he retired. And then, you know what I'm saying? I was going to say Steve Harvey, a.k.a., Tony Weeks, based off what he did in his last, championship bout. He may not touch it. Then people have questions about Kenny Bayless. Then they could bring a California referee in. To be honest with you, they might bring somebody like Harvey Dock in. Then there's Benji Molina. I forgot what the other dude's name is. The other white dude's name who mostly work out of California. Damn, what is his name? His name is Steve something. So like I said, everything is going to come into play or make people question what might possibly go on. So it's going to be intriguing all the way up until the first bell rings and to the final bell rings. His name not Steve. His name is Thomas something. I cannot remember what that dude's name. He got the white dude with the buzz cut. I think he might be the best choice. So, like I said before, we don't know enough yet. So now Steve Weisfeld is a judge. The dude I'm talking about is out of California. He do good work though. I would recommend Harvey Doc, but the way Harvey Doc let Lomachenko basically coerce him into basically refereeing that fight basically the way they wanted him to referee, because at the end of the day, once again, everybody keep talking about Haney and Lomachenko and what happened. Nobody wants to talk about, and everybody keep talking about, well, Lomachenko went bananas the 10th and 11th round. Yeah, right after Harvey Doc threatened to take a point for Devin Haney. And Devin Haney changed his whole outlook. I was like, and Devin Haney was like, dang, I don't want a point getting taken away. And then that's when Lomachenko went on that tear. If Harvey Doc wouldn't have said nothing to Devin Haney about, hey, if you keep doing this, I'm going to take away a point. So Harvey Doc kind of played a way in how that fight turned out towards the end, because I think Devin Haney would have still stayed in rhythm despite him saying, well, he figured me out. I think Devin Haney still would have probably continued the way, but Devin Haney clearly won the 12th round. So like I said, well, Steve Willis mostly works out of New York. He doesn't travel outside of New York, but Harvey Doc does. So like I said before, I am curious to see who gonna be refereeing the fight. Now, so we'll see. But that was funny when Tim Bradley brought that up. I hope after July 29th, we all can sit up here and talk about who won the fight, how they won the fight, and basically it's no controversial decision, because I don't feel like doing that. I just hope that we could just say, hey, it was a great fight for 12 rounds or however long it lasted. We could talk about how, if it's a stoppage, how Crawford stopped Spence, or Spence stopped Crawford, or whatever the case was, or how Crawford dominated Spence for 12 rounds, or vice versa. That's all I want to talk about. I don't want to come here saying, oh, the fight was a robbery, or this is what's wrong. I don't want to have that conversation. And hopefully Al Haymon don't screw up this fight. Because at the end of the day, people gonna be looking at Al Haymon and gonna be suspicious of Al Haymon, the man behind the scenes, the man that never makes himself available. And look, I know it's people that love Al Haymon and worship the ground he walked on. But I ain't that type of dude, because like I said before, I done had quite a few issues with how the PBC get down. And like I said, I don't like how they treat black media, and good black media at that. And World Combat Sports was well within his right what he said about that woman, because like I said, I didn't had incidents with her, a couple, you know. So July 29th, stay tuned. I'll plan on being there. So I got to go to Vegas regardless, because I got to go to Las Vegas regardless, because Top Rank has a card on the eve of the fight. So more than likely I'll be at that fight. So, you know, just stay tuned, you guys. Anyway, appreciate you guys tapping in. I'm out.